Hey guys, Q&A time. And, I've got maybe like 30 something questions, so that's pretty good. It's more than last time anyway. I guess I'll just start off right here. Since I have them in here right now, it says, do you have any pets besides Bib? And if you don't know, Bib is my cat. But yes, I also have that dog right there. Right, Joe? Right. That's Joey. Some people think it's weird that he has a real person name, but I don't. So, whatever. Alright. So, yeah, those are the only two pets that I have. Other than that, I mean, there's like some fish and stuff, but big deal. Alright, next question. How did you decide between Amp Kit and Jam Up? Did you look at both or just go with one? I'm trying to get that early 2000 Tom DeLonge tone without it sounding so digital. Well, I went with Jam Up just because a lot of the guitar players that I was watching on YouTube were all endorsing it and all showing it off. I'm like, okay, you know what, fuck it, I'll give it a shot. I've never even heard of Amp Kit. I've never used it or anything like that. It could sound good, it might not, I don't know. I've gotten some good stuff with Jam Up. I can't really say that sometimes it doesn't sound a little digital. I'd say that one downside to it is I don't really like how I can't seem to get good sustain sometimes without cranking the gain, and that just ends up making it sound a little fuzzy, and that kind of bugs me sometimes. So other than that, I like Jam Up a lot. So have you ever thought about Hearts All Gone by Blink-182 being about Tom DeLonge? I mean, I guess if you want to think about it that way, it could fit, but I mean, you could really make something about anybody if you really stretch it, I guess. I don't know. I don't really think about that type of stuff personally. What is my favorite track from Green Day's Kerplunk and 39 Smooth? I'm sorry to say this, but I've never listened to either of those albums a single time. So, I can't really answer that. Let me get some light in here. Who or what inspired you to pick up a guitar? I've always been, really musical. At least I've really just loved music, I'd say more than the average person. But a friend of mine when I was younger, when I was around like 11 or 12, had a guitar. And I went over his house and, I just like picked it up and I was just strumming it, and it just felt really cool. I really liked the way it felt, and I just was getting into a lot of bands at the time that were really like guitar influenced. I mean, I've always listened to bands like that, like Rush and stuff like that, but that's when I was getting into more mainstream stuff like Blink-182 and Sum 41, and they just had simple, catchy guitars, and it just made me want to listen to, or it just made me want to play guitar, so I thought it was cool. And pretty much like the next Christmas, that's what I asked for. So fun fact, I actually started listening to Sum 41 before Blink, even though I don't really care for Sum 41 now. They were like the first like pop punk band I was really into. What are my favorite guitar manufacturers other than Fender or Gibson? Well, yeah, it's pretty obvious that I like Fender and Gibson, but there's definitely some other ones that I really, really like. I love Mayonnaise. Their stuff is just gorgeous and expensive, and it looks awesome. I'd love to play one. I'm sure someday I'll get one, but probably not anytime soon. What else? Oh, that's like those three are like my favorite ones for sure. So it's really hard to even think of any other ones. I mean, there's definitely some nice ones out there, but Carvin's cool. I've always wanted to play a Carvin. That'd be pretty cool. And the things that they do for the prices that they charge are pretty incredible. Like some of their like $1,000 guitars look nicer and I'm sure feel just as nice than, another brand's $3,000 guitar. So it's pretty crazy. Do I know how to play ukulele? No. But I did look up yesterday, actually. I was just curious what kind of tuning they play in. And what I read is like the normal tuning is like opposite of a guitar almost, where it's E, A, D, G, but it's backwards. So like you're fretting it like everything backwards. So like the E string would be like the one all the way down. Like if I'm holding like this, it would be like E, A, D, G. At least that's what I read anyway. I could be thinking of something else, like a mandolin or something. I don't remember, but I might have been actually thinking of a mandolin. I don't know. Either way, I don't know how to play one. All right. I'm building a Tom DeLonge style Strat, black with a shell pink racing stripe and a maple neck. Sounds pretty neat. And I'm contemplating between a bare knuckle crawler or DiMarzio Evo 2. Which would you recommend? Well, I haven't used the DiMarzio Evo 2, so I can't really say if it's going to be a good fit or not. But I can absolutely 100% recommend a bare knuckle crawler. I think that's one of the best sounding Strat pickups I've ever used. It sounds really full in a Strat, and if you wanted like coil tap it or anything like that, it sounds great like that too. And it's just got a really good mix of modern and vintage, which is really cool because you can, like with the right amp setup, you could play like that old classic, Van Halen or Led Zeppelin or anything like that if you want to, but you could, change it up and play something modern like, I don't know, Blink-182 or whatever else. So it's a great pickup. And although I don't have one now because I sold the guitar that I had it in, I would definitely consider getting another one. Let's see. Why don't I like the Fender Mustang? And have I ever considered the Jag Stang? I just think they're really ugly. I mean, that might sound a little shallow, but I've always felt like they were just super ugly, and I just have a hard time playing an ugly fucking guitar. I don't know why. I just always have. And I don't know. It's probably because I'm also like a collector at the same time. I've always had that collector mentality, and if a guitar is ugly to me, then I just don't want it. So I don't know. They might play great. I'm sure they do. Most Fenders play great, but I don't know. They're just not really for me personally. I'd have to play one, and it would have to really, really play amazing for me to really consider even like ever buying one or anything like that. Next question. What amp would you recommend for an advanced guitarist? Okay. It's really hard to say. I mean, amps are basically what's shaping your whole sound, and it really depends on your tastes as a whole. I mean, you could be into metal, and I wouldn't know that, and I could recommend, a Fender or something. So, not to say that Fenders couldn't do some sort of metal tone. I mean, I don't know. It's really dependent on what style of music you want to play. I would definitely recommend, a tube amp. Tube amps are awesome. They sound really, really nice. So, I don't know. That's definitely what I would do. But if you want to narrow down, and you want some suggestions for a certain type of genre, then feel free to send me another message, and I'll try to help you, I guess. This Mesa Boogie that I bought, you might not be able to see it in the frame. This is my Mark 525. It's a great all-around amp for sure. It's got amazing cleans, and it's got really nice crunch and stuff. So that's a really good all-around amp. What's my favorite food and my least favorite food? I don't know about my all-time favorite, but some of my favorites are like chicken wings. I've always loved chicken wings. God damn it! It's starting to fucking snow again. Sorry. I really like burgers. Just simple, just like meat foods. Mexican food's really good. I had some Chipotle earlier. That was good. Least favorite foods, I really don't like mushrooms. I hate onions. and I do not like celery. Those are like the three main things that I just don't like. I don't mind the flavor and stuff, or if it's hidden pretty well, but I'll never by choice put them in something. I don't like them. Let's see. Do you ever find it difficult to manage amp volume, especially at home? I'm looking at buying my first head and cab, but my bandmates are discouraging me as they say it will be too loud for home use, and even at band practice, I'll just drown everyone out. I've had good and bad experiences with amps. I mean, sometimes some amps just don't open up until you get to like a pretty high volume, but something like my Mesa, my big Mesa, the Roadster, that thing sounds amazing even at like just barely any volume at all, which is great. My 5150 amp, for example, does not sound very good until it gets pretty loud. Or you could do something like, this Mesa Boogie here, the Mark 525. I think he wants to leave. Hold on. Come on. You want to go? There you go. But something like this actually has headphone outputs or inputs that are awesome. So you could always get something that has a headphone option, which is awesome, or something that can go right to your computer like this does. This is why I have it up here. So there's definitely tons of options out there. Do I ever feel awkward talking about my YouTube channel to friends or family? Maybe at first, just because I feel like I'm making like a pitch to somebody, or I'm just plugging it. To family, not so much. I mean, maybe a little bit to like people at work or something like that, where they're like, "Oh, I never really thought about it or thought that you would do something like that." But I'd say the more awkward part is watching them watch a video of me. That's always pretty odd. I'd be like, "Okay, check that out. I'll see you later." So I don't know. All right, say a cab has speakers that come to a total of 200 watts. Does that mean I can run any amp head that has no more than 200 watts? No. Basically, say, I have a cab that has, 120 watts going, or has 120 watt capacity or something, and then I'm using, or no, let's say I have a head that's 120 watts, but the cab I have is only a 60 watt cab. You can still use that cab, but if you go more than halfway on the volume and the power of that head, you risk blowing the cab, or at least the speakers in the cab. So you can use it as long as you're not going, past a certain point. It's kind of hard to know what that point is, so it's really not worth taking that chance. So I personally would try and match them, or at least make sure the cab is more. So that's probably the best thing that you can do. I'm not entirely sure this next question. It says, what's the cheapest you bought a Mexican Strat? I'm assuming you mean like what's the cheapest I've ever gotten one for. I put together like a dark red Strat. It was maybe like a year and a half ago. You can probably see it in like a couple older videos. I know I have it in my self-titled Blink-182 album cover, and I got that for like $225 or something like that. It was really cheap because it was sitting at Guitar Center forever, and it was really rusty in some spots, and the pickups and the pickguard were garbage. So I just said, fuck it, yeah, I'll just make some changes to it, and I got a good deal. Do I ever plan on getting a Tondalong Epiphone ES333? I've answered this before, but absolutely not. Maybe if it was the cheapest thing in the world, and someone just said, hey, I'll give you this for $120, I'm gonna be like, okay. Or if I was just my friend, if I had a friend that had one, and maybe like he really needed the money or something, to be like, all right, sure, I'll fuck around with it. But I played one for the first time actually recently at a Guitar Center, and it was okay. I mean, the neck was a lot bigger than I was expecting, like really chunky, which isn't really a bad thing, but it wasn't something I was really used to, and I don't know. I mean, it was okay, but I wouldn't really spend the money on it. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of semi hollows. I mean, I have my Gibson over there, and that sounds and plays great. But even that one, I don't play it that much, just because it's just not that comfortable. So I don't know. I'm not a big fan of those. Do I know any music theory? No. Hey bro, I've been looking at the newish Fender Coronados. I would like to know what you think about them. Also, what kind of pickups can be switched out on those? That's just another guitar, kind of like one of the last questions. Actually, like two of the last questions. One, I'm not a fan of semi-hollows, really, just because they're huge for the most part. Usually, anyway. And two, they're ugly. They're really ugly. I don't like them. But I looked them up just to try and help you out with the pickup question. They look like they would be able to fit an uncovered normal humbucker. If it was something with just, like regular bobbins, not a covered pickup, just because covered pickups are usually a little more square, and it looks like the Fidelitron pickups that they have in there already are more rounded on the corners. So that's what I'm guessing. I'm really not sure, but I'm gonna say that for the most part, covered pickups are a no-go on that, and you could probably use just a normal humbucker uncovered on it. So I don't know. There are though. Excuse me. There is one company that I would definitely recommend checking out. It's called The Creamery, and they have some really cool stuff. And I'm pretty sure they have ones that would fit like practically just the same thing, but you can make them sound like a bunch of different models that he has. So that's worth checking out. Here's another one. How similar is the bare knuckle Juggernaut to the Invader in an Alder body? The Invader is just really muddy, just all around. It just is. Output wise, the Invader has maybe a little bit more. The Juggernaut has a lot of power, and it sounds really great, really balanced in it. I really like it in my orange Strat, and actually I have the 7-string version in my Squire Strat over there, but it's not as full as the Invader, which is probably the only thing I don't like about it. It's just, it could use like a little bit more fullness to it, but whatever. But all around, the clarity is way better on the Juggernaut, and I just think it has an all-around better tone. Tonally though, it's not hugely different from the Invader. You could definitely play similar styles with both pickups. I would just recommend the Juggernaut 100%. What amps would I consider buying in the future? I don't know. I've got enough amps already. I mean, I would like to try the Mesa Boogie Jesus Christ, Mesa Boogie Electrodyne, but I don't know. I've got enough amps right now. It's really the last thing I'm even considering. And what are my plans for original songs? Are there any in the making? Yes, I've shown a couple short examples on my Instagram page, and I'm still working on them. I've got maybe like 5 or 6 kind of in the works. I'm working with a couple friends of mine to try and get them out there, and they sound awesome so far, but just between all of our schedules, it's kind of hard to make it really happen. So it's going very slow, but it's definitely moving. There's 2 songs that are just about done. I wrote the songs themselves, like the rhythm and everything, but one of the songs I did like the rhythm and all the leads and pretty much everything, and then on the second song I did all the rhythms, but I did some leads, but I didn't do all of them, and I had him, who I'm not going to say who it is yet, do a lot of leads on it too, so that's really cool, and I can't wait for you guys to hear it. But I really don't know when they'll be out, so. Can I do a video on intonation? Yes, but I'm sure there's a ton of videos on YouTube already that show it off if I don't get around to it. Do I listen to electronic music? Not really. I mean, I like synth stuff, but I don't listen to like club music or like house music or anything fucking stupid like that. But I definitely like synth stuff like in like alternative type music. So let's see, what would your tips be about how to get your own music known? SoundCloud, for example. I mean, I got mine known early on through MySpace, but I mean, SoundCloud is definitely, it's definitely something that a lot of people are using, and it's definitely worth, putting on there and then just, show it around. It's kind of annoying, but a lot of people will go on similar music pages that are popular and say, hey, if you like this, check this out. Someone's bound to check it out. Even if it's kind of annoying to see all the time. You don't want to be that guy that overdoes it either. So um, also check out Reddit. I mean, there's some subreddits on there that you can go to that are just about like sharing your own music, and someone might be into it. And also, would a 15-watt valve amp be with a 2x12 be loud enough for gigging? Um, Maybe like some small gigs. If they're getting really loud, then you might be still good as long as you like hooked up to the PA if they have one. So, for the most part, you should be okay for smaller stuff. Jaguar or Jazzmaster? I like the Jazzmaster because it's a longer scale length. It's just like the normal 25 and a half. And Jaguars, I'm pretty sure, are 24. So, I mean, if I wanted to detune or something, I'd have to really go for like some thicker strings. So, I wouldn't want to do that. Let's see. I'm not answering that one. Let's see. My Strat has heavy fret buzz. Even after I adjusted the truss rod and action accordingly, I took it to my luthier to have a setup. By the time I got it home, it was buzzing again. I've been trying to fix it for hours now. Any suggestions? I mean, it helps if your luthier asks the right questions. I mean, if you play like really heavy, then it might be that he doesn't know that and that he was setting it up for someone that just doesn't play that heavy. I mean, if you're playing like really hard strums and stuff like that, then you're gonna have to back it off a little bit to try and get less buzz. But if you're you're doing like not so heavy stuff, you're just like lightly strumming stuff, then you can put it lower without getting that buzz. But other than that, I really can't suggest anything without seeing it and playing it. So I mean, maybe try a different luthier. I don't know how good your guy is. I don't know. That's basically all I can really suggest. Do I have any tips for shining up or polishing guitars? I mean, there's a lot of different companies out there that use polishes or that have polishes and other stuff for guitars. I mean, I don't really use them for the most part, but I never really I don't let my guitars get so dirty that it's an issue. If I, like you can't really see it from here, but most of them, they might have like some fingerprints and stuff on them, but they're not like gross or anything, and they never really get that way because I'm usually on top of it pretty quick. So I don't know. What kind of job do you want to have? I'd like to just work on guitars or something. That'd be cool. Or amps or, anything music related. That'd be nice. Is there an album or song you listen to when you're sad or angry? For example, a song you've listened to when you've lost someone or after a breakup. Not particularly, no. I mean, just music in general is good. Doesn't have to be anything specific. Let's see. Can you name every band you've seen live and how many times you've seen them? Absolutely not. One, because I don't want to, and two, because it would take me forever to think of everything. I mean, I can go through some of them quick. Rush, I've seen them twice. I've seen Judas Priest with Anthrax. I saw Van Halen with Sammy Hagar. That was pretty cool. I've seen Blink 4 times. I've seen Newfound Glory like 7 or 8 times. I saw Paramore twice. I've seen Reliant K with Sherwood in May. That was a pretty cool show. Something Corporate. Steel Panther, I saw them. Muse, I've seen them twice. The Living End, I saw them open for Blink. And No Doubt, that was a good show. Green Day, I've seen them twice. Been to Warped Tour once, so I mean I've seen a handful of bands there. Who did I see there? I saw Offspring, My Chemical Romance. Starting Line was there. That was really before I was into them though. Something Corporate was there too, but I missed them. I was pissed. That's about it that I can remember. Who else? I'm just blanking on some. Let me go through my iTunes. That'll help. Bayside, I saw them once. I'm going to see them again soon. I've seen Alkaline Trio once, I think. Angels and Airways, I saw them 2 or 3 times. Let's see. Take It Back Sunday, I saw them once. Actually, I left a couple songs in because I didn't really care at the time. I saw Sum 41 with Good Charlotte. I also left through Good Charlotte's set, didn't really care. 4 Year Strong, I saw them once. Hammerfall, I saw them twice. Hot Rod Circuit, saw them a couple times. Let's see. Seosin, I saw them with Census Fail actually. And I saw Sugar Cult. They opened for Newfound Glory and Green Day. And that's pretty much it. So, I saw Plus 44, so that's the last one. So, I've seen a decent amount. Let's see, what's your favorite volume of Thrice's Alchemy Index? Probably Water, but the Fire one's really good too. Favorite Census Fail album and song? I don't know why people keep asking me Census Fail shit. I don't listen to them anymore. I listened to them like 10 years ago, and I haven't really cared about them since. You know, I'm going to see them with Bayside next month, but you know, I'm only going because I'm going to see Bayside. I could really care less about Census Fail. They're just not very good anymore. How old is too old to start a pop punk band? If you like something, who cares how fucking old you are? And if you're good at it, you know, it doesn't really matter your age, to me anyway. Do you enjoy NoFX's music? Not even a little bit. I'm just not a fan of Fat Mike, and frankly, I just don't really get into that sort of music. I mean, it just doesn't do anything for me. And I think this is the final question. Let me just double check. Yep, last question. Have I ever met any famous people? Let's see, I met the old singer of Seosin Cove at a show. Had him sign something. I've met the drummer of Newfound Glory, Cyrus. I met him outside of one of their shows. That's pretty much it. I can't really think of anybody else. I don't know. I might have, but I can't really remember anything. So, That's all I got. That was it for the questions. Had some good questions this time around, so thanks to everybody that sent me questions. And if I didn't answer anything, I might have accidentally skipped it, or it was probably just really stupid because some of you asked me things that are just really dumb. Like, would I rather get fucked in the ass or fuck a guy in the ass? I'm not gonna ask. I'm not gonna answer shit like that. That's fucked up, and you should be ashamed. So, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.